Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we're going to be talking about Imperial Knights, specifically the variant known as a Knight Warden. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions, please comment down below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on a Knight Warden. Although Imperial Knight houses utilize a vast array of walkers, the most common type are referred to as Questores class Knights. These Knights belong to the Questor Mechanicus Knight worlds and have forged strong alliances with the Adeptus Mechanicus, and as such, benefit from technological aid and reciprocal protection from Mars and all of its forged worlds. Within these noble Knight houses, one of the most common variants of Questores class Imperial Knights is known as a Knight Warden. Many Knight houses, including House Raven and Volker, use Knight's Warden as a breakthrough force to eradicate enemy strongholds. This tactic is especially effective in dense terrain, such as battles that take place within the confines of a hive city, a manufactorum, or a thick jungle. Whether clearing hab blocks or advancing beneath tightly packed alien canopies, the heavy thudding footfall and wiring drones of the high-velocity Avenger Gatling cannon let friend and foe alike know that the Knight Warden has arrived. The highly feared Avenger Gatling cannon is like an oversized assault cannon, though its larger caliber shells are more destructive and its rate of fire is even more prodigious. A single blazing volley from the rotary weapon can stitch a pattern of death across the foe's battle lines, causing charges to falter and fail and destroy entire attack columns of light vehicles. In support of this already lethal weapon, the Avenger Gatling cannon has a built-in heavy flamer to flush out foes from cover. Any enemy that can get through the curtain of deadly fire laid down by a Knight Warden must then seek to avoid the wide-sweeping blows of its signature close combat weapon, the Reaper Chainsword. This massive chain-toothed blade is typically used to destroy the largest of targets, slicing apart battle tanks or delivering the killing blow to a Titan-class foe. It is this combination of mid-range firepower and close assault capabilities that make the Knight Warden such a formidable adversary and so popular amongst its allies. Upon realizing that they cannot match the might of the Imperial Knight, many of mankind's enemies will attempt to overrun the war engine with weight of numbers, or probe around their more vulnerable flanks. It is against tactics such as these that the Knight Warden truly comes into its own, thanks to the volume of firepower it can carry. Should fast foes such as Tau Piranhas or Orc Warbuggies strike around the Knight's formation's flank, seeking to compromise the Walker's ion shields, they will find that the Knight Warden is a formidable obstacle. Tracking the oncoming foe, the Knight Warden will fire short bursts from its Avenger, quickly and effectively turning such lightly armored vehicles into burning wreckages. Because of their desire for engaging enemies at close quarters, many Knight Wardens also sport a turret-mounted heavy stubard upon their shoulder plate. So armed, Knights Warden have proven especially effective at halting orc charges or eradicating even the greatest swarms of creatures that are the hallmark of most Tyranid invasions. It is not uncommon for some Knights Warden to bear a Thunderstrike gauntlet in lieu of their murderous Reaper, using energy-crackling powers of its prodigious blows to hammer apart even the mightiest of foes. The Avenger Lance formation, made famous by House Turin, has been known to feature a trio of knights armed in this fashion, which proved well during the demon tide of the 33rd millennium, when 3 Imperial sectors were overrun by a vast army of the Immaterium, referred fearfully as the Demon Tide. Deploying into the Demon's Path, 5 knightly houses, led by the renowned nobles of House Turin, formed a bastion to halt the rampage. Using swift-looping packs, High Queen Desmodara Turin channeled the demons through the shattered valley of Godsmote. As the warp-born creatures spilled onto the hollowed plains, they were subjected to the thunderous bombardment by 24 knights. The demon casualties were phenomenal, yet with no concept of fear, they surged onward to exact revenge. Over 600 Questores-class knights stormed out to meet them, enduring barrages of sorcerer's flames and filth that sent towering knight suits toppling to the ground. With Queen Desmodara and her exalted court at a lance point, the knights slammed into the still vast demonic horde. They carved a path of annihilation to its heart, the ground shaking beneath their tread, unclean ichor drenching their legs. Though immateric fiends and cascading warp energies tore down one knight after another, their momentum was unstoppable. At last, with Reaper Chainswords howling and Thunderstrike gauntlets crackling, the exalted court of 3 knight houses engaged the masters of the Demon Tide. The battle that followed was so grandiose and catastrophic that it spawned hundreds of songs, tales, and tapestries. Several heroic knights were slain by the enormous Great Unclean One, Polothrax, before knights, known as the Master of Iron and the Fellbreaker, successfully pinned the foul abomination with their thunder coil harpoons. With their quarry unable to move, the knights hacked the mighty demon apart. Polothrax's banishment spelled the end of the demon tide, though they wreaked much more destruction before they finally faded back into the warp. It is on this day that Polothrax's unending grudge against House Turin and all of their descendants was born. And then there's House Volker, who employs several Knights Wardens for bunker-busting besiegements. And none more famous than Lady Luxius, who displays bare adamantium armor plates on her Knight Warden, Unalloyed Victory. This is considered a deeply significant tribute by her house. She earned this honor during a fierce fighting on the death world of Tasmadar II, after Tyranid biohorrors ambushed Baron Dyrok's lands. Surging from the overgrown slopes of the valley known simply as the Gullet, a pair of huge serpentine beasts crippled the Baron's knight. With icy calm, Luxius coordinated a firing solution and unleashed a punishing salvo of rockets and Gatling fire that ripped one beast apart. Her Knight Warden went blade to chitinous claw with the other Tyranid monster, sustaining heavy damage before finally decapitating the creature's head with a roaring Reaper chainsword. The lady and her knight stood guard over their damaged comrades for a further 8 solar hours, seeing off predatory waves of biobeast before relief finally reached the Gullet. For their magnificent deed of valor, both Luxius and her steed were greatly honored, their systems and panoply restored to full magnificence before the final push to liberate the planet. And those were 40 facts on the Knight Warden. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A couple days back I did a 40 facts video on the Knight Errant. Check out our 40 facts on the Knight Errant if you want to learn more about them. Also, I didn't mention this, but check out our 40 facts on the Great Unclean One known as Polothrax. His lore is really badass. It's on the channel. Just go check it out. But a couple days ago I did a video on a variant of an Imperial Knight. And to be honest, there's very little difference between a Knight Warden and a Knight Errant. When you look at Imperial Knights, it's really just the types of weaponry that changes. Other than that, there's not that big of a difference unless you go into Forge World models, which kind of annoys me because as I'm reading the lore, it's just kind of like it's very similar to the previous video that I did in the week, and it's a struggle to like try to understand the differences between them. It seems like it's very, very similar. Close combat weapons are pretty much the same. Like you have the Reaper sword, and then also the guns. Those change slightly, but there's not that big of a difference. Comment down below, maybe I'm missing something. I haven't actually purchased the codex for the Knights. This was an old 9th edition codex that I have for the Scutari, so that's where this is coming from, or the Adeptus Mechanicus, I should say. So that's where this is coming from. So it's one of those things where it's like, am I getting less lore because it's an Adeptus Mechanicus book, or is there an actual like big difference between all of the Questores class Imperial Knights? I would love to learn. If you guys can just fill me in if you guys play Imperial Knights and all that kind of stuff. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have suggestions for any other topics of Warhammer 40K that you guys would like us to cover, please let me know what they are in the comment section below. If you guys would like us to cover a specific house, please let me know what it is. I know the houses are very distinct and they get very like medieval, and like their lore is very like not primitive, but like Dark Age style, where you have knights and they're fighting for honor, and that's pretty badass. So if you guys have a specific house that I should take a look at, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, but again, any other questions or comments or suggestions, just comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, I used to put my sweet